Yes, I've been reading, I've been reading the Clan of the stories for myself since 2015, and it's just the stories continue to still amaze and teach me. There's always aspects of the stories that's new to me because it's so rich, and it depends on kind of where where we are at in our cycles, what relates with us from year to year. And yeah, they still continue to amaze me. Okay, so here is the link to the YouTube channel. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Yeah. Okay, so welcoming ways to truth. Let me just do the recording. Oh, it is recording. Welcoming ways to truth, the clan of the third moon cycle. So at the beginning of the clan book, there's this little piece with the write-ups of each little clan mother, or each big clan mother. And ways the truth is the keeper of equality and the guardian of justice, the fair judge of divine law and the destroyer of deception, and the mother of truth and the protectress of the underdog, the mother of self-determination and responsibility. She teaches us how to find the ability to respond and how to be self-determined, how to feed the positive and not the negative by using divine law, how to use equality with justice, being accountable for our actions and words, how to use personal integrity, ethics, and values to find healing solutions, how to accept the truth. So, where's the truth? The protectress of the meek weighs the truth for all to see. Divine law seeking balance, setting the spirit free. And here amid the chaos of earthly trials she stands, ready to issue justice, compassion in her hands. She answers when deception shows the destructive face of human greed and hatred, dividing every creed and race. Keeper of great mysteries' laws, whose guiding ways we seek, may we accept the oneness of the truth we hear you speak. Where's the truth is the clan-mother of the third moon cycle, who teaches divine law. She is the fair judge of human rights, the keeper of equality and the guardian of justice. She does not judge our actions by bestowing punishment, but rather teaches us the principles of divine law. The actions we take are based on our decisions. If we decide to hurt another consciously, we have also made the decision unconsciously to receive the lessons connected to harming another. Ways the truth teaches us that we are the ones who, in finding and accepting the truth in our actions, must decide that what we will learn in order to make amends for following the crooked trail. The keeper of justice sees all sides of every situation with clarity and cannot be fooled by half-truths or lies. As the guardian of the underdog, she is not swayed by personal opinion and obliterates the illusion of class distinction, hierarchy, wealth, supposed power, or popularity. She demands that justice and equality be applied to every life form in creation. By observing the obvious in every situation, this clown mother levels the ideas of self-importance that keep human egos out of balance. She instructs us by showing us our own humility, allowing us to see our arrogance. Where's the Truth teaches us that taking on additional responsibilities is important in developing our self-determination. This grandmother understands the idea of weighing all sides of any situation in order to determine the truth. Self-determination can be seen as our ability to respond to all sides of life and to all our talents and aspects and accept the truth. The truths found even if we do not like what we have discovered. The destroyer of deception role in our life shows us that when we are self-determined, we have accepted the truth of what gives us joy and are not confused or influenced by what others want us to be. We can then respond to our heart's greatest desire and find happiness through the determination found in the self-sense of well-being. This grandmother's moon cycle falls in March and is connected to the color brown. The rich soil of the Earth Mother's reflects the color and represents the Earth Mother's connection to divine law. The cycle of truth that corresponds to the third moon is accepting the truth. Ways the Truth teaches us to accept the truth inside us as well as accepting the truth of the experiences we encounter in life. If we look at ourselves with a cold eye, accepting that we find the truth of our strengths and our weaknesses can be destroyed by the illusion that limit our potential. Whereas the truth teaches us that we do not need to focus on what is weak or wrong with us, but rather on what is strong and right with us. Divine law shows us that cause and effect do rule our universe of polarity. If we feed the negative by being critical, the shadow side of our nature is fed. When we praise right action and work to develop the skills of our talents, our orendas or spiritual essences expand. The bearer of the burden basket. Where's the Truth sat in her wigwam, staring at the earthen walls made of mud and leaves. The supporting branches of the circular lodge were made of birch. Here and there a stray piece of white bark caught the reflection of Grandmother Moon's full face as the light filtered through the smoke hole in the center of the wigwam's domed roof. On this warm night, she had no need for fire and was content to sit in teaway, the stillness. It was comforting to know that she could call on Birch's medicine of discovering truth, here in the stillness of her seeking heart. Snowy Owl Spirit was there with her in this night, while she had to make a decision regarding justice. One of the ghostly white pieces of birch bark seemed to reflect Owl's image across the circular space of her hut. Whereas the Truth was comforted by Snowy Owl's medicine of eliminating lies and deception. Owl was a wisdom keeper. His spirit had accompanied her since the early days of her earth walk, earning her trust and friendship through the trials, challenges, and tribulations they had shared. On this summer sleep during the full moon, Ways the Truth was confronted with a situation that would test all of her abilities in order for justice to be found. 2 women from the tribe had come to Ways the Truth 5 suns past to ask for judgment. Running Water had accused Blue Goose of taking more than her share of the communal food stores. Blue Goose had accused Running Water of being nosy, passing rumors and not keeping her eyes and ears out of the sacred spaces of others. Ways the truth had passed the 4 suns and sleeps required for her to smoke the situation. On the rising of Grandfather Sun, the clan mother would issue her decision in front of the tribal council. To see beyond the smoke-filled illusion of this difficult situation, Ways the Truth had approached the east direction on the dawning of the first sun, and her decision-making process. She had offered her pipe to Grandfather Sun and had asked for clarity and spiritual enlightenment. Then she had returned her thanks for the gifts of clear seeing and feeling that the east wind would send her, doing so before the actual message arrived, thereby making the space for that message in her heart. Next, she had loaded her pipe and sat in Teowe, the stillness, to smoke the spirits of each relation that had been asked to come into the tobacco. With each puff, she felt the medicine and strength of the spirits of the East come into her body. The smoke from the pipe wafted through the Sky Nation, creating a stir in the east wind, bringing the clarity she sought. The east wind reminded her that when clarity was sought with unconditional love, the light of Grandfather Sun would illuminate the seeker's ability to embrace the expansive view without preconceptions. When the purple sage blossom blanket of the night sky settled itself across the Sky Nation, and on that first sleep, Ways the Truth was given further illumination as she watched the starry medicine bowl. Later during her sleep time, her dreams were filled with more visions and enlightenment and facts regarding blue goose and running water. During the dawning of the next sun, she repeated her ritual, inviting the spirits of the south to show her what she could trust about the situation and the woman involved. That evening again she watched the night sky for portents and signs. Her dream spoke to her of the lessons of innocence and humility that needed to be learned in this matter. When dawn broke on the 3rd sun, Ways the Truth took her pipe to the ridge of the sacred mountain, repeating her spirit calling ceremony. This time she called to the west wind, asking for the strength to go within and seek the answer that would bring a fuller understanding of the omens she had seen and the messages she had received. The west wind was asked to show Ways the Truth how her decision would affect the future of the 2 women, their tribe, and the unborn generations yet to come. In the evening that followed, Ways the Truth was again given the answer she sought during her observance of the night sky and her sleep-time dreams. The 4th dawn brought the north wind's spirit-calling ceremony, and Ways the Truth stood at the edge of the ridge of the sacred mountain, asking for wisdom. The gratitude she felt for the answers already received was sent to the great mystery, and she added her thanks for the wisdom yet to come. Ways the Truth asked for healing to come to all concerned, and that the goodness of divine law found in the lessons would enrich the lives of all observers. Then she gave thanks for the opportunity that this situation had afforded her to further develop her own skills of accepting the truth in herself and in others. Ways the Truth sat in her wigwam, reflecting on the signs she had found in the starry medicine bowl of the night sky this evening and all the messages of the past 4 suns and sleeps. She called on the spirit of Snowy Owl, who guarded the above direction of her sacred space, and asked for his spirit to manifest in the lodge. Then she called upon Weasel, who guarded the below direction of her sacred space. Last she called upon Crow, the guardian of divine law, who was the protector of the within direction of her heart. In the stillness of the night vision she found by sitting in the darkness with her eyes wide open, she waited. She saw a spirit come forth to perch on the branch that stuck out from the mud walls. Several branches were built into the wigwam's earthen walls, creating hooks for hanging household items, leggings, pouches, and dried food, and medicine bundles. Owl picked an empty branch, hooted in greeting, and then waited for the other totem spirits to arrive. Weasel took his place on top of a stump that the clan mother used as a table and silently greeted her with a nod. Crow Spirit entered the smoke hole at the top of the wigwam, perching on a branch across the lodge from Snowy Owl. Crow called a greeting, signaling that the four friends were all present and ready to begin the powwow. Where's the Truth was grateful for the totem spirits who had come to assist her in making her final decision regarding running water and Blue Goose. She showed her totems the respect she held for their wisdom by offering each one an outstretched palm, signaling through sign language that she was grateful and willing to receive their counsel. Crow began by reminding all present that divine law was the balance found in every natural part of the great mysteries creation and not in the laws made by humankind. Together, these four friends would have to find the answer that would preserve the justice of divine law, as well as the fairness that would bring balance to the lives of all concerned. Crow asked Weasel to ferret out the truth, since he was the detective of the creature kingdom. Weasel could use his medicine to guile and stealth, ingenuity, and observing the obvious to bring the truth to light. Crow asked Owl to use his medicine of wisdom, discernment, and destroying deception to aid the group in seeing the whole truth. Owl's natural call in the wild was always asking who, but he invariably discovered that answers to where, when, how, why, and what as well. Snowy Owl was able to find answers to all those questions because he could easily spot the difference among a truth, a half-truth, and a lie. Time passed as the four friends considered the puzzling question of how justice would be served. Where is the truth totem animals stole into the darkness when all the facts have been reviewed, allowing her to once again sit in the stillness. She then positioned her body like a great lizard, called Crocodile, in order to tap his medicine of digesting and assimilating the truth. Like the great lizards of the rivers, she took her meal of thoughts below the waters of her personal feelings and ingested each morsel of truth in order to integrate all she had learned. As the clam mother rested her belly on her sleeping robes, she sent her spiritual umbilical cord from her navel deep into the earth mother's body. The fibers of life that comprised the umbilical cord sent streams of warmth into her body from deep within the earth while she dreamed various solutions. In her dream, she rode the back of the black and white striped pony called Zebra. Zebra reminded her of the medicine that nothing was final or absolute in the natural world. Nothing was just light or dark, black or white. As she rode through the dreams, she passed through the plains of the wind-swept golden grasses and mushroom-shaped trees, whose branches formed domed silhouettes against the horizon. Faster and faster she rode through the dreamscape until the stripes of Zebra's body blurred into a mass of radiant light, melding with her own hair, which blew freely in the wind, and her body, which had become a living extension of the galloping form of her four-legged companion. Suddenly the dreamscape changed, and the two found themselves in another setting. Zebra came to a halt in front of a fern-filled grotto, where clean, pure water tumbled over a limestone shelf into the clear pool below. Where is the Truth dismounted, listening to the waterfall. The grotto was sprinkled with tiny blue flowers and orange Indian paintbrush. She noticed something moving behind the stream of water. Raccoon emerged, eyes sparkling inside of her black bandit's mask, smiling as she had expected the clam mother's arrival. "Hello, mother. It has been a long time since we have looked into each other's eyes. I can see you have fared well," Raccoon said. Whereas the truth felt the warmth of Raccoon's greeting deep inside her belly, as she moved forward to greet the old friend. "My heart is full, little bandit," replied the clown mother. "It is good to look into your eyes again. What words of wisdom do you have for me now?" "Well, mother, I am still the protector of the underdog, the weak, frail, and elderly. My medicine becomes stronger every day while greed and inequality continue to capture the hearts of the human tribe. I have come to tell you that when you make your decision with the rising of Grandfather Sun, you may want to consider the rights of those who were depending upon the communal food stores but were not taking their share, in order to leave more for others. These members of your tribe have been planting, gathering, storing as much as the others, but in their meekness and humility they have chosen to provide for others in need by taking less than their share. Raccoon had revealed the missing piece of the confrontation between Blue Goose and Running Water. The rights of those who were inadvertently affected by the actions of both women would have to be considered. In her dream ways the truth could see Zebra snorting and pawing the ground, catching her attention. Zebra whinnied and then spoke up. "Nothing is ever black and white, is it, mother?" The dream faded, causing Ways the Truth to move her body, disengaging herself from the dreamscape, returning her thoughts to the warmth of her belly that was being fed to her by the Earth Mother. The umbilical cord of light fibers blended all the feelings she had encountered during the 4 preceding suns and sleeps with the wisdom gathered from her spirit totems, as well as the reminders collected in her own dreams. Together the mass of feelings, impressions, facts, and wisdoms whirled inside of the Kamada's belly, giving her a great deal to digest before the rising of Grandfather Sun. Ways the Truth reviewed Running Water's accusation in detail. Running Water had said that Blue Goose had taken more than her share of food that had been planted, tended, gathered, and stored by all members of the tribe. If Blue Goose had hoarded more food for her family than what was her rightful share, the clan mother was concerned with the deeper issue of why Blue Goose would have done such a thing. Weasel had shown Ways the Truth the pain that Blue Goose held in her heart, having lost her child to starvation 2 winters before. Owl had seen through the deception that Blue Goose had tried to employ when she accused Running Water of being nosy in an effort to hide her fears of being caught and of losing another child to starvation. Blue Goose had been wounded and had not been able to heal the loss of her child because she blamed herself for not having gathered enough food for her family. Running Water was another matter. True to her name, her laughter was like the melodies made by the running streams and brooks, but her weakness was in running to tell the others, no matter how small the assumed offense. It was true that Running Water did not keep her own counsel, or her eyes or ears to herself. Sacred space was maintained in tribal living conditions by observing a certain amount of politeness. This rule for happy living was a good one, that required every member of the tribe to avert their eyes when the personal lives of others could be viewed. Anything that was inadvertently overheard in passing was considered a privileged information, not to be repeated, out of respect for the sacred space of another. Running Water was certainly a busybody in most instances, and out of her need to be noticed and acknowledged had created several problems in the past. Her behavior stemmed from never having been recognized as a child, living among a family of many children, with parents too busy trying to provide for the physical necessities to nurture the emotional needs of the youngsters. During her childhood, Running Water had developed a tattletale personality, finding that she could get attention as she behaved herself and used a self-righteous attitude to point out the offenses of others. But the kind of attention Running Water received was avoidance and mistrust. In her own confusion about whether or not she was getting noticed, Running Water had effectively cut herself off from true friendships. Blue Goose was acting from old pains and fear, and Running Water was acting from woundedness and the need to be loved or recognized. Each woman sat on one side of the great smoking mirror, projecting what each supposed was the truth into the smoke-filled illusion that could confound the most astute observer. Whereas the truth took the nurturance she needed from the spiritual umbilical cord she had sent from her navel into the Earth Mother's body and let go of the problem, sleeping until dawn. Just before midday, Whereas the Truth changed her buckskins and donned her regalia. The doe skins of her regalia had been tanned and then worked with charcoal and tallow, producing the blackened hides from which she had fashioned the dress, leggings, and moccasins. The Clown Mother reached behind the mud-fashioned shelf in her wigwam and brought forth a special bundle. Carefully, she unwrapped the crow's mask that she carved so long ago and looked into its face. Each black feather on the crow's mask had been affixed with a glue that Whereas the Truth had made from the hooves of buffalo, slithered and boiled in water. She had spent 2 moons in the creative process and was pleased with the result even now. So many winters later, the bill on the mask was yellow, symbolizing that divine law was dispensed with unconditional love, like the yellow of grandfather's sun. The eyes of the mask were red, representing the faith held by the keeper of divine law. Who knew that accepting the truth was an act of humility. When Grandfather Sun was at the zenith of his journey across the blue sky nation, Whereas the Truth sat down in full regalia in the midst of tribal council. Running Water and Blue Goose sat in front of the Clown Mother, encircled by the elders who composed of the wisdom keepers of the tribe. Beyond the circle were all the other members of the tribe, silently waiting for the proceedings to begin. The words of thanksgiving were spoken by Whereas the Truth, giving gratitude for the opportunity of sharing and healing that presented in the situation at hand. Then burning sweetgrass was passed, so the smoke would cleanse any bit of negativity the group might hold against the 2 women asking for justice. Whereas the Truth began by saying, I have reached a decision in this matter after the 4 suns in sleep required by tribal law to accomplish my task in a good way. I have consulted the totem spirits, the starry medicine bowl of the night sky, the 4 winds of change, the ancestors, the 4 clan chiefs of air, earth, water, and fire, and Sueño, the great mystery. I have been fed by the Earth Mother and blessed by the Sky Father. I have seen the hearts of these 2 women and found the solution I feel is necessary to bring healing and balance back to our tribe. Blue Goose took more than her share of food stores because she was afraid of losing another child to starvation. She carries the self-blame of a mother who felt helpless when death took her baby. Although she was driven by shame and fear, this was selfish behavior that did not consider the rights of those who worked equally hard to create the winter stores that we all depend on. For Blue Goose to walk the beauty way again, she must return the extra portions she took. Then she must go to the woods to gather double the amount she secretly pulvered from our tribal stores. The berries, wild tubers, nuts, and greens that she gathers are to be equally distributed to every family who lost loved ones to hunger in the last starving moon. When this task is completed, Blue Goose will spend 1 sun with each family, sharing the stories of her loss and hearing the stories of the loss that each family experienced. During the next 13 moons, Blue Goose will care for different children who lost their parents to starvation. During each moon cycle, she must treat her own during each moon cycle, she must treat as her own each child that she tends to. Running Water spoke out of turn when she tattled on Blue Goose, not respecting the natural right of every tribal member to determine for himself or herself what is correct behavior based on his or her sacred point of view. Running Water is to accompany Blue Goose as a silent companion, assisting her in gathering and when she visits each grieving family. Running Water is not allowed to speak during this time she assists Blue Goose, nor is she ever to speak of what she heard or saw at any time in the future. For the next 13 moons, Running Water will not speak at all. She will listen. She will assist medicine women and me during healing and counseling sessions, but she is forbidden to speak of anything that she sees or hears at any time in the future. Both women will reappear before the council in 13 moons. Danaho, it is decreed. The 13 moons passed quickly and the tribal council convened again. Where is the truth sat in her crow's regalia in the center of the circle, asking Blue Goose to speak of what she had learned on her healing journey. I have learned that every member of this tribe has suffered losses. Mother, I have shared my grief, and theirs equally, and I have come to realize that we work together for a reason. Unity, sharing and caring for one another is the strength that binds us together as one. I have given away my fear of scarcity and have discovered the faith that once eluded me. I am no longer afraid of growing old alone if my children die, traveling to the spirit world. I have made peace with myself and no longer carry the blame or shame that clouded my understanding. I have extended my family beyond the boundaries of blood and kin and have loved every child who needed me. Through their loss of relatives, each grieving adult and child has shared with me a common bond that was created by setting aside our sorrows, finding the joy, comfort, and understanding of each other's companies. Where is the truth? Thanked Blue Goose, and asked Running Water to speak of the lessons she had learned during the past 13 moons. Running Water had not spoken since the last time she faced tribal council, and her discomfort was apparent. She struggled to get a rasping word to escape her throat in vain. A few moments had passed, and then she tried again, finally finding her voice. These 30 moons have changed my attitude, my path, my understanding, and my sense of self. I want to express my gratitude towards you, Mother. Through listening to the stories of others, I have seen and heard the stories of my own passage of woundedness into healing. I have learned gentleness and compassion for myself by being caring and nurturing towards others. I now understand the folly of my former need to be recognized as a worthwhile person. I felt worthless because I had never seen my own potential or talents. I'd only experienced my critical voice in my head that told me I was never good enough. Because I believed I was not worthy of being loved, I harmed others by insisting they followed a path made of the same painful rules that I had imposed on myself. I learned compassion from Blue Goose and the others who shared their pain in their hearts. I learned how to move past my resentments of judgment you pronounced 13 moons ago. I have been privileged to share in medicine women's healing arts and in your fairness, common sense, counseling, ability, and compassionate wisdom. For these gifts and the healing of my heart, I am truly grateful. Where's the truth's heart was filled, trills of celebration and keening cries of victory filled the morning air, expressing the rejoice of the tribal members. Everyone had seen the changes in the two women and had waited expectantly for this day. The Beauty Way had been restored to the tribe without unjust punishment or decisions that could have split them apart. The balance of divine law had been served. Each woman had accepted the truth of her actions, finding ways to support and heal the old pain that had created those crooked trails. Life was good, and the abundance found in the caring tribal members was in balance again. Whereas the Truth saw that Running Water and Blue Goose had learned the value of sisterhood, coming together in diversity. Both women had been forced by their own actions to rely on one another, to see their similarities, and to go beyond their judgment to find common bond. From that understanding, a friendship had sprung, making sisters of the former enemies. Running Water had discovered the first true friendship of her life, and Blue Goose had healed her fear of abandonment. Where is the Truth sent gratitude to Svenyor the Great Mystery for the lessons she had learned about being the bearer of the burden basket. She had learned about being the bearer of the burden basket. The Clown Mother no longer felt burdened by her role of dispensing justice. She realized that every two-legged carries the burden of being responsible for her own actions. To grow, every human being picks the lessons he or she needs to learn, adding the experiences to the burden basket he or she carries on his or her earth walk. The responsibility of accepting the truth of those lessons is left to the individual, determining whether that person feels encumbered or freed by experiences. From that sun ways the truth would always be reminded that Crow holds the call, that rides the winds to all nations. Divine law will bring life abundant to all our relations if we feed our goodness and starve the shadow that is fed by old pain. Only then will humankind accept the truth, understanding that the great mystery created all two-leggeds to walk in beauty as living vessels of love. It's a big story, and I invite you during this moon to feel your own weighing scale. There's a weighing scale in your own body, and as much as we can sometimes go so much in the mind about decisions or truths, there is an internal weighing scale that we can weigh everything that we need, all the opinions, everything can be weighed in, and we can feel how that lands for us, feel how that sits for us, and then decide whether that is something that is true for us or not. I thank you for being here and for listening to the story. As always, I am available. You can contact me via email, or if you have my telephone number, you're welcome to contact me on my telephone number or just send me a DM. I'm always available for conversations and explorations. May you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Shanti. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.